Welcome back, everyone, but today is not like every other day. Because today we break from the usual. Today, we made an exception. We're not just revisiting a Hollywood legend, we're stepping into the untold. This isn't the story of Jack Nicholson the superstar. It's the story of Jack Nicholson the man, the exception to fame, the myth behind the madness. Where others chased lights, he walked through shadows. Where others wore masks, he lived with ghosts. This isn't just about cinema. It's about silence, suffering, survival. This is Jack Nicholson, not the icon, the exception. Jack Nicholson's life is a cinematic tale in itself, full of twists, mystery, triumph, heartbreak, and unforgettable moments. He is more than a 3-time Academy Award winner or the face behind some of the most iconic roles in Hollywood history. He is a legend who reshaped the very image of the American anti-hero. But behind the devilish grin and slick sunglasses lies a journey filled with complex truths, personal struggles, and a relentless pursuit of identity, purpose, and artistic expression. John Joseph Nicholson was born on April 22, 1937, in Neptune City, New Jersey. Raised in a working-class family, young Jack grew up believing that his grandmother was his mother and his actual mother was his sister, a deception that would not unravel until he was 37 years old, through a Time magazine journalist's research. This shocking discovery came years after both women had died, and it permanently altered his understanding of himself. The betrayal was deeply personal and internalized. It wasn't just a family secret, it was the foundation of his identity. Yet, it was also emblematic of the strange, disordered, yet rich life that Jack Nicholson would go on to lead. Nicholson's early years weren't glamorous. After high school, he moved to Los Angeles in 1954, initially working as an office boy for MGM's animation department. He took acting classes on the side, trying to find a way into Hollywood. He wasn't an overnight success. For over a decade, he languished in B-movies, often playing supporting roles in low-budget horror and exploitation films. He co-wrote scripts with filmmaker Roger Corman, even trying his hand at directing. It was a hard, thankless period marked by near invisibility, but Nicholson never gave up. He studied human behavior. He analyzed performances. He learned to embrace rejection as a lesson rather than a defeat. His breakout role didn't come until 1969, when he played George Hansen in Easy Rider. It was a small role, but his performance as the boozy, disillusioned lawyer lit up the screen and earned him his first Academy Award nomination. Suddenly, after years of irrelevance, Jack Nicholson had arrived. The 1970s marked his meteoric rise. With 5 easy pieces, 1970, The Last Detail, 1973, and Chinatown, 1974, Nicholson showed a rare blend of intensity, vulnerability, and rebellious charm. His performances defined a generation of disillusioned, anti-establishment men who reflected the times. But it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, that cemented his status as a cinematic icon. Playing R.P. Nicholson won his first Academy Award for Best Actor. The film wasn't just a critical success, it became a cultural revolution in itself, speaking to themes of freedom, individuality, and institutional control. Nicholson rode this wave into the 1980s, delivering unforgettable roles in The Shining, 1980, and Terms of Endearment, 1983, the latter earning him his second Oscar. In The Shining, under Stanley Kubrick's meticulous direction, Nicholson crafted one of horror's most iconic portrayals. His descent into madness as Jack Torrance blurred the line between character and actor. Many believed Nicholson drew from personal depths most dared not explore. In 1989, he portrayed the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman, redefining comic book villains for decades. He reportedly negotiated one of the most lucrative actor deals in Hollywood history, earning a cut from the box office and merchandise that made him tens of millions. Despite his immense success, Nicholson's life was never free from personal demons. He was known for his libertine lifestyle, parties, women, drugs, and though he never married, he fathered multiple children. His longest public relationship with actress Angelica Houston ended due to his infidelity and fathering a child with another woman. Fame gave Nicholson everything, but stability seemed always out of reach. He once said, "I resist all established answers. They're the kind of things you learn at a young age and then spend the rest of your life unlearning." The 1990s and 2000s brought renewed acclaim. A Few Good Men, 1992, gave us the unforgettable line, "You can't handle the truth." In As Good as It Gets, 1997, he won his third Oscar, playing a misanthropic writer with OCD, proving he could balance cruelty with vulnerability. As the years went on, roles like the aging gangster in The Departed, 2006, and a dying man alongside Morgan Freeman in The Bucket List, 2007, showcased a man still evolving, still fearless, still magnetic. But as the 2010s began, Nicholson gradually withdrew from acting. Whispers of memory loss and declining health circled, though he never formally announced retirement. His final film role was in How Do You Know, 2010, a modest romantic comedy that offered none of the fireworks fans hoped for in his farewell. Behind the scenes, he became increasingly reclusive, retreating from the public eye. The same man who once commanded rooms with his charisma now spent days watching Lakers games from his usual courtside seat in silence. In a sense, Nicholson's life came full circle. A boy who never really knew his own identity became a man who could transform into anyone on screen. His fall was not a scandal but a quiet exit, a slow fade from the spotlight rather than a dramatic collapse. Even in solitude, his mystique remains undiminished. What makes Jack Nicholson's story so compelling is not just his cinematic genius but his resilience. He fought obscurity, betrayal, and addiction. He lost love, made mistakes, and lived unapologetically. His life is a map of both the American dream and the American contradiction, talent and excess, charm and pain, truth and illusion. In the end, Jack Nicholson became more than a movie star. He became a myth, a symbol of Hollywood at its most daring, unfiltered, and human. His face, his voice, his madness, his grace, they remain etched in the soul of cinema. Jack Nicholson's rise from obscurity to global stardom wasn't built merely on talent. It was a complex alchemy of pain, persistence, defiance, and unrelenting ambition. Born into a world of lies and raised by a woman he believed was his mother, but who was, in truth, his grandmother, Jack's earliest years were shaped by confusion and hidden truths. His real mother, June, had gotten pregnant as a teenager, and to preserve family dignity, the entire truth was buried. Nicholson wouldn't discover this devastating secret until 1974, well into his career. "It was a pretty dramatic event, but it wasn't what I'd call traumatizing," he once said. But beneath the surface, it marked the beginning of his lifelong confrontation with identity and control. In later years, he retreated into a more private life. He attended Los Angeles Lakers games religiously, sitting courtside in his signature sunglasses and smirk. He still drew attention, still looked every bit the movie star, but he had become a living monument, a symbol of a Hollywood era long gone. Yet the legacy of Jack Nicholson is not in red carpets or box office numbers. It is in the characters he embodied, the boundaries he shattered, and the emotions he stirred. He gave voice to the misunderstood, the rebels, the brokenhearted, and the furious. He taught actors to embrace chaos and audiences to find beauty in imperfection. Jack Nicholson's story is not one of simple rise and fall. It is a journey of reinvention, rebellion, and emotional honesty. He climbed from working-class obscurity to the mountaintop of cinematic greatness. He suffered betrayals, heartbreak, and the burden of fame. He made us laugh, tremble, and think. And then, quietly, he stepped away, not defeated, but fulfilled. Nicholson once said, "I used to think that one of the great signs of security was the ability to just walk away from things." And in the end, he did just that. On his own terms. Jack Nicholson's departure from cinema was not punctuated by a grand farewell speech, nor a ceremonial final film. Instead, it was like the end of one of his own characters, ambiguous, moody, and deliberate. But even in absence, Nicholson remains everywhere. In Hollywood, his presence is not just remembered, it is felt. It hums through modern performances, directorial choices, character archetypes, and even cultural language. Nicholson didn't just influence acting. He reshaped it. The magnitude of Nicholson's legacy lies not merely in the awards he won, though his 3 Academy Awards and 12 nominations are unmatched by any male actor, but in the radical authenticity he brought to the screen. He shattered the glossy image of the Hollywood leading man. He was often messy, mean, neurotic, unstable, sexual, and self-destructive, yet always, undeniably human. His characters didn't chase likability, they chased truth. That, more than anything, made him magnetic. Modern actors like Leonardo DiCaprio, Christian Bale, Joaquin Phoenix, and Adam Driver draw from Nicholson's school of emotional risk-taking. His ability to convey multitudes, rage, vulnerability, sarcasm, madness, within a single glance taught a generation of actors to lean into discomfort. Directors, too, were changed by him. Stanley Kubrick pushed him to his psychological edge in The Shining, and Nicholson gave back a performance that still chills viewers 4 decades later. Martin Scorsese once said that working with Nicholson in The Departed was like capturing lightning in a bottle. "You don't direct Jack," he said. "You ride the wave." He was also among the first actors to wield power in Hollywood like a studio executive. He negotiated unprecedented profit-sharing deals, Batman, rewrote scenes, demanded script control, and influenced casting decisions. Nicholson wasn't just a performer, he was a creator, a collaborator, and often, the most powerful person on a set. That kind of leverage redefined how actors approached their careers and established a blueprint for longevity and autonomy. But Nicholson's influence extends beyond the camera. His persona, the devilish grin, the sunglasses, the unfiltered honesty, became a symbol of cool rebellion. In the 1970s, he represented a generation that rejected conformity. He lived freely, spoke openly, and loved recklessly. He wasn't trying to be a role model, he was simply himself. And in doing so, he inspired others to embrace their contradictions, to live unapologetically, and to seek depth rather than approval. For future generations, Jack Nicholson will remain a paradox. The everyman and the enigma, the romantic and the cynic, the genius and the provocateur. Young actors studying him today aren't just watching performances, they're decoding a philosophy. They see in him a courage to be ugly, a willingness to be real, and a rejection of performance as vanity. To watch Nicholson is to understand that greatness does not require perfection. It requires presence, danger, and soul. Film schools teach his work. His monologues are dissected. His scenes are memed, quoted, parodied, and revered. His Joker is still debated in contrast with Heath Ledger's and Joaquin Phoenix's. His R.P. McMurphy remains the embodiment of resistance against control. His Jack Torrance remains the gold standard of psychological horror. And his Colonel Jessup remains the ultimate courtroom thunderstorm. Even outside cinema, Nicholson's legacy has shaped cultural identity. His courtside appearances at Lakers games, his sunglasses and raised eyebrows, his loud laugh, all became part of the Hollywood mythos. He is, in many ways, the last great movie star of an era that is now gone. An era without filters, franchises, or carefully curated social media personas. Jack belonged to a generation where you lived loud, burned bright, and let the work speak for itself. In an age of algorithms, content floods, and interchangeable stars, Nicholson stands as a symbol of singularity. He was never anyone else. And no one else will ever be him. Though he now lives quietly in Los Angeles, largely out of the public eye, Jack Nicholson's presence endures, not through appearances or new films, but through his undeniable fingerprint on the soul of cinema. His name is etched not just in Hollywood's concrete, but in the emotional memory of audiences who saw something of themselves in his rage, his charm, his madness, and his brilliance. When the final story of Hollywood's golden rebels is told, Nicholson won't just be a chapter. He'll be the climax. If you enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and share.